It's called Getting Old. I have a very special guest tonight with me. I have Barbra Neff from Neff Productions. She's what we call the Sailfest lady. But believe me, she's got many more hats than just Sailfest. So tonight we're going to be talking about it. It's a call-in show. You can call in. There's been a lot of changes in the last 2 years or so. So this will be our first one in, what, almost 3 years?
Yeah, since 2019.
Yeah. So, and there's been a lot of changes to downtown in that time, too. So, how you doing?
I went from working really hard to not working as hard because it wasn't, you know, when COVID hit, it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I just went home and I'm like, am I ever going to work again? You know, that's what I do. I put people together. And so, but, you know, we did some events during COVID. We did some car shows to bring people into downtown to go into the restaurants. And then last year I came up with that event, Eat in the Street, to bring people into into their community and eat in our restaurant. So, to running Sailfest this year, which is like a full-time job. So,
the first year of the COVID must have been probably the hardest, or was it the
second?
second?
It definitely was.
Because you couldn't do anything.
No, we had to do.
You couldn't do an event if you wanted to, even if it was the people who wanted to do it for free.
Yeah. So what the events were is I went out and got car clubs to come into downtown, and then we would give them free parking in downtown. They would come in as a group, and then I would help them make reservations, see what restaurants could fit people in, and then they would either eat outside because it was the summer and bring chairs, eat on South Water Street, eat on the waterfront, but they would get their food and then they'd support the businesses and hang around outside. So it was socially distanced, you know, outside and so that's the kind of thing that I had to come up with to do to, number one, support our business community, but number two, to get people downtown, so.
Now you just gave me an idea. and my memory ain't worth a crap, so I have to write things down. But when you were just talking about getting the car shows and stuff like that, I've always said with the car shows they have on Monday nights, if there's a way they could get the cars start someplace else and come down Ocean Avenue with like a big parade and leave like a big parade. You would have people out on the streets waiting for
every Monday night.
What if there was some way you could get them to come down Bank Street?
Yeah.
And up State Street? That would draw a lot of people, I would think, downtown.
Yeah.
But it's something, because just now what you're describing about, you just show me that there's a lot more than what I think people realize that you do. I mean, calling places to set things up as far as a hotel or dinner and stuff. I never thought about that.
Oh, yeah. So you want to make it easy for them. So it was part of the deal was, well, they were coming from, you know, different areas, some of these groups, and so they didn't know our restaurants. And so it's like, okay, well, what would you like? You know, well, this restaurant has that. How many people do you have? Let's see if we can get you a table, you know, that type of thing.
And that's all part of what you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
All righty.
I do whatever I have to do. I do that a lot on the waterfront. As you know, I'm the dock master for the city. And so I do that with all the boaters. Like the boaters come in, I meet the boaters. What would you like to do? Do you like history? This is what we have for history in downtown. What would you like to see? What kind of food do you like? I got a call to the office. My daughter wants a salad with salmon. Where can you send me? So
they actually call you for that?
Well, they called me for codes for the bathroom. And then they said, hey, we're looking for a place we can get a salad with salmon. Where can I get that? And so I'm on my computer sitting there talking to them, looking up restaurants and found Thames Landing, Oyster House, does a salad, and you can add different things to it. And so that's where I sent them.
How many people do you have working for you, if any? None, huh?
So I have, that's funny. So I have me. I have a rescue dog. I have my boyfriend who's voluntold, he says. I have an intern in my office. And this time of year, I have somebody that's paid that comes in a few hours in the mornings every other day.
Do you have any volunteers? I mean, besides at Sailfest itself?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Yeah, we have, so Eat in the Street, we have probably 5 or 6 volunteers.
Is that your idea?
Yeah, the mayor said to me, come up with an idea that we can run that socially distance. And I'm like, okay. And so I was thinking, what can we do? Well, we need to get people outside. Let's, you know, what if we bring tables outside and they eat in the street? And then we have entertainment outside, so people are roaming around. and we could bring in a few vendors. And so that's.
I remember one of the first Sailfests I went to, not the first, but probably then too, but the Bank Street was totally closed off.
Yep.
You had vendors on both sides of the street.
Yep.
It's not quite that busy anymore, huh?
Well, this year is going to be a new layout. The mayor only wants vendors on one side of the streets. He wants to be able to see the buildings. So we are working to only have vendors on one side of the street. So they'll be on the hygienic side of the street on Bank Street, and they'll be on the grassy area on the first block of State Street.
Oh, yeah, because I remember it used to go all the way up.
Yeah, I used to do at one time. We used to have another stage at City Hall.
Yep.
And then we used to do a car show on Sundays at the top of like from the Guard down to City Hall. And little by little, the city said, has pushed us back onto the waterfront and won't let us. They don't want us spreading out as much because it costs the city more to close streets down and things like that. So, but I will say that we brought in a consultant, and the consultant told us that this event should be all through the streets because it gets people to move all through the streets and see all the businesses.
Well, I would think the amount of business that it would do for everybody that has a business downtown would be much more worth it than having cars go through it.
It's very tricky. So you have to, and I was a small business owner, so you have to take your business and say, how can I make it so that it's something that people on the go want? And so, like, my store, what I would sell is I would sell like candy bars and things like that outside, things that you could take on the go. If you have a florist like Charlotte Hennigan, nobody's buying flowers. So it's like, what could you do in there? Like, could you sell watermelon on a stick? Or could you sell something else that you could sell that could, it's not for everybody. I mean, not every, Northern Light Gems, he's come out a few times, done some nautical jewelry or some cheaper jewelry. You're not probably going to sell, a diamond that weekend.
Yeah, you're not going to put
it's
that
probably
out there.
not. But I have stories when there used to be a furniture store down there, and where Homeward Bound is now, and that gentleman always hated Sailfest, and he called me up one day and he says, I have to thank you, and it was Thanksgiving, and he says, I just sold a living room set, a bedroom set, and a dining room set. I had never seen these people in my life, and I asked them, how did you find us? And they said, we came to Sailfest and we loved your window displays. And he had a great window displays. And he says, and they said, we were finished building our house. We were coming back here and buying the furniture. And we did.
I was in Homeward Bound the other day, and these 4 Asian young people came in, and they saw an old Victrola where you cranked it up.
The one up front.
Yeah.
I saw it.
And they freaked out, and the guy says, I want this. And so John says, well, where are you from? We can deliver. They said, oh, we're from Boston. We just thought we'd come down and see what this place was all about. So you had 4 young people coming in from Boston.
I was doing an event
Which
on the
surprised
waterfront.
the hell out of me, to be honest.
I was doing an event on the waterfront last summer, and I saw these people go park on Fisher's Island Ferry, and they shut their gates at night. So I went over there and I said, oh, you can't park there. And I told them where they could go park. So when they came back, I said, oh, where are you from? And they said, New York City. I said, you're from New York City? I said, what are you doing here? And they said, we decided that we'd leave New York on a Saturday night and go to the coast. And so we were driving through and we were on our phones and we saw that there was an event, and so we stopped in.
I always used to think, and I don't know, maybe with Sailfest, I always used to think of people that live in New York, how they can, if they want to come to Sailfest, all they got to do is get on a train and come.
We run a special commuter train out of New Haven. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So it stops all the way here. We've been doing that for years. And so it's pretty funny because you watch it when it pulls in the station and it pulls away, and then there's all these people there because one day they had to stop and add another car because it was so full.
Where would it go? It drops them off and takes off.
Yeah, and then at 11 o'clock, and then they deadhead it, and then at 11 o'clock they bring it back and they go back to New Haven and drop everybody off on the way. Yeah.
Boy, those trains, they must make a good chunk of money for that. But All right. How long does it take you to put from the beginning to the end? And when I say the end, I don't mean just when the fireworks are done, because there's a lot more to Sailfest after that.
That's not the end.
That is not the end. How long does it take you to put something like that together?
So we start in November. I have a committee, and we start in November, and we think, we come up with like different themes, different logos, look at trends, see what's going on, what we want to add to the event or take away from the event. And then we have a little party for Christmas that we all get together. And then in January, we start right in. And then the event is in July. And then we have a last roundup meeting in August. And at that meeting, we ask like what worked, what didn't work, what was popular, logistically, like where our tents are, where our entertainment is, like what do we need more to get there. What didn't work? We do a 100-person dinner. How did that work?
How many of you are there when you're having this kind of sit down?
Oh, there's probably 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. How many events? Because I'm sure people must realize you do much more than just Sailfest.
Mm-hmm.
You do car shows. You do now the meals in the streets.
Eat in the street.
Eats in the street. On an average, how many events a year do you put on?
So the city always asked me to do, in my contract it said that I had to do 6 events, and people were like, well, why 6 events? And the idea was from the city council is like I would do something at the end of June, and then after Sailfest, we'd run every single weekend through July and August to keep the downtown busy. So that's how they sort of came up with 6. Obviously, July 4th, I wasn't running one. I was already running Sailfest, so that's not one. So then I would take the week off after Sailfest. So there's I did about 13 events usually. I usually do about 13 events. I don't just do, I never just do 6. But that's what I was always contracted for. It said 6 of my.
All right, I want to touch on the police thing, but not the way you may think I want to touch on it.
Whatever.
I know the police have their issues or whatever like that. But I seem to remember when I would go down to Sailfest, there was a big, huge truck out in front of the train station. There was, I don't know if that was CIA or
That was
FBI or
nope,
whatever the
that
heck
was
they were.
Amtrak out of Boston. They would bring
All
that
right, so
down.
they would have they would have their people there.
Yep, and they probably brought 40 to 50 Amtrak officers from all over the states, from Connecticut, Rhode Island, Boston. They came from all over.
And then there would be also state police.
Yes, there was.
Our folks, but there used to be like some Waterford police and.
There's Waterford police. There's Waterford police and fire. There is
Waterford Fire Company?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
There's obviously New London. There's the Coast Guard. There is TSA. There's FBI. There is Homeland Security.
Now, who's paying all them people?
It's all mutual aid.
So I don't understand what the problem is with the police. I don't get it.
So we've been doing, at one time it was called Unified Command. It's now called the Public Safety Committee. And so we've been doing this as probably since 2001, I think.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think since 2001 we've been doing this. But we meet, our first meeting is in April, and then we meet April, May, June, and we put together a plan that's about this big, of an action plan to move forward. And yep.
See, I don't know. Okay, so we now have, and we're going to get more into Sailfest, trust me. But right now we have the dock downtown, on the pier.
Yes.
That pier used to be lined with trucks and vendors.
Yep. That's where our main stage was and our beer tent.
Where are the trucks going to be this year?
So we are not going to have a main stage there. We're not going to have a beer tent there. We're not going to do, so that's where we'll be down a stage, because we usually do a stage.
That was the big stage.
Right, so we usually do that. We did that stage at Custom House Pier, and then on Saturday and Sunday, we did a little community stage at the Whale Tail. We are losing that, so we will have no stage or beer tent on Friday, and we will be running one stage and the beer tent on the Parade Plaza on Saturday and Sunday only.
Now, there's kind of a stage right in back of the train station, or is that?
There is, but we bring amusement rides in, and the city doesn't want them in the parking lot anymore. So the only place I can fit them, so people have said, well, can you put them in the street up on State Street? Well, there's wires in the street, there's things that, they need. They're not just a circle or just a line, A lot of them have outriggers that go out, so I really need an open area that I can run things in. And so, unfortunately, it's the city pier.
And there used to be quite a few vendors there too.
We do. Yep. So we put food vendors, all the way down City Pier. We'll be doing that again. Yep.
Jesus. What does it cost for a spot if you're a vendor and you're going to be down on the pier or wherever?
So
what's an average cost?
There is no average cost. So it depends on what you're doing. And so this year, if you're a food vendor for 2 days, it's $550, and you have to have insurance also. If you're a merchandise vendor, it's $500 or $450. I'm not sure. I don't do the vending. I actually have someone who does that. Nonprofits pay half price. If you're a New London business, then you're a merchant member for the DNLA, then you don't pay any more. You just have to be a merchant and pay the merchant dues, which is
what would that be? What kind of business?
$100.
No, I mean, what kind of business would the merchant thing be? You mean just like a regular store?
Yeah. So if you're a downtown business and you're a DNLA member, because DNLA runs Downtown New London Association runs Sailfest. Okay. If you're a member of the organization, then your dues are $100. You don't pay any more to be in Sailfest.
So when they have on Bank Street, I heard a couple of people were talking to me about this. About when you have the vendors outside on Bank Street, that the restaurants that are on Bank Street,
they have the first right to come out and take the spot in front.
I see. I always like to try to find out both sides of a story.
Yep.
I mean.
So they have the first right to come out in front of their business. If they don't want to come out, we do not block their business.
Okay. So what kind of acts you got coming up? I mean, it's a shame we're only going to be with one stage. That's not right.
So we are going to do a Latin stage over in the Hygienic. We took the Hygienic for Saturday, and we're going to do Latin music. So that means we're programming and paying for all the entertainment over there, so that we would have a Latin stage, because I've done a Latin stage for years.
Now, if you have one by the monument, won't that be too close together for two?
No. I've done 2 stages on that street before. It's all right. I used to do a stage in front of City Hall. That's where our Latin stage was originally.
I remember
in front of City Hall.
One year the Hispanic stage, or Latin, whichever you want to call it, was there.
Yeah. Yep. We did that for years. And so I think it's important to the community that we keep that stage, because, we have a big Latin influence in the city. And so we are definitely doing that stage again. And like I said, that's going to be on the Hygienic on Saturday.
So do you already have a lineup for
We do. If you go on sailfest.org, the Latin is not on it yet. We're waiting. So we don't put anything on our website until we get signed agreements.
Yeah.
And so we're still waiting for two actually, signed agreements, and then our Latin stage will go up. But our main stage is already on there.
What does a band make? What's an average cost for a band?
Average bands anywhere between $500 and $2,500.
$2,500.
Yep.
Yep. That better be a big name band.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you also get the bands, or do you have an agency that you work through?
No, we do the bands. And so we have an entertainment committee. It consists of Andre Danford, Ethan Cash, and Kia Bird.
Oh, Ethan?
Yep. And there's a website called Sonic Bids. And what had happened is people used to do you remember when people used to do press kits? So there was a press kit. They would send us like a CD, and they'd send us information on them, and we'd be able to look them up in pictures, and we'd be able to look them up and listen to them. And so years ago, Pat Perry and I, who's since passed away, we would sit and listen like nights after night, listening to CDs of bands and seeing how they sound. So we got 86 press kits one year to the office. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, we're spending, like, listening to these bands. So we found a website called Sonic Bids. And what happens if you have a band, you can go on and download pictures, MP3s of your music, give us your bio, show us videos, and then I can give a password to all the committee, and they, on their own time, can go look at them. And then we sit down as a committee and say, these are our favorites, and then we look at them together, and then we can decide, and then I call and make offers and go back and forth, and that's how it works.
So you're going to have Latin at the Hygienic.
Yep.
Where's the rap going to be?
I don't know if I have any rap. I know I have 2 local artists. Frank Grams is performing, and Brian J. I know Brian J. doesn't do rap. Yeah, I don't.
Can you think of any other bands that are going to be there?
We have a band from New York City called, because this is sort of funny, called The Unattended. And they do a lot of original music. And
Cool.
I like original music
Yeah.
because you can go. So I usually will only put on one band that does covers a day, because I want people to experience music that they've never seen before, they've never heard before. And I think it's important that you as a family can go down and see music that you've never heard or seen before. So we have a band called The Unattended, and then we have a band called The Undivided, which I thought it was funny this year that we had 2 bands like that.
What time the band's going to start?
They start at noon, so we're opening it up with the Coast Guard band at noon. Yep.
Do you, because there's a big crowd usually over at Fort Trumbull.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there may be a couple trucks that go there. I'm not sure. Are you involved? I mean, it doesn't go across the bridge?
No.
The little boat bridge?
No. There is Groton. They actually do an event on Thames Street over there. And actually that gentleman that runs their Parks and Recs comes to our public safety meeting, so that they know what's going on, and we know what's going on over there. So
The bonding for something like this, it's got to be outrageous, right?
Yep.
And that comes out of the
That
city
comes out
center?
of no, that comes out of the Sailfest. Sailfest pays for that, and you have to. And so what people don't understand is when someone calls me and they say, "Well, why do we have to pay for? We're a New London business. Why do we have to pay for a spot?" I'm like, there's no admission at this event. There's no one walking in the door giving us $1. So to pay for music and fencing and golf carts and radios and porta potties and advertising and it all costs money.
What's the average cost to put on Sailfest?
$500,000.
$500,000.
Yep.
And do you get any help from the city?
The city pays the services, so they pay for the police, fire, and public works.
500,000. Wow. So with everything that's going on downtown, I mean, it's changing constantly. And my first question was when I saw and heard about the dock going in there was, well, what about Sailfest? Because it's such a
By the way,
huge.
$500,000 is not going to be this year. It's going to be a lot cheaper this year.
Well, yeah.
Just to let you know, in other years, that's what would be the budget. This year, like I said, with only half the vendors, means we could only do half of everything. Everything is scaled way back. We are scaling the event way back.
Well, I mean, you don't.
We have one less stage. I mean, so you got to think of one less stage means less production. So it's less tents. It's less, it's all that other production too that goes into it. So it's going to be a lot scaled down this year.
The thing with the dock, the only reason I'm hopping on that is because, like I said, it's, my first thought is this is really going to take a lot away from Sailfest because that was like the main focal point.
Yeah.
And you had between the trucks and the people, I mean, there's a lot of people on there, and then the stage.
Right.
And now, I don't know how much you know of what the guy from the dock is going to be doing for Sailfest. I don't know. You got that space where the stage used to be that's going to be open. Is he going to allow people just to go set up, their seats and chairs for the fireworks, or is he going to keep that for private? Or?
So that was, obviously, that used to be a stage down there, and the city took the stage away. That's supposed to be open to the public. There's supposed to be public access on that. So I would think that the public could still go down there.
Then I was wondering if he's going to have a cover charge, or I don't know.
They are for public safety probably gonna gate it, so there's only gonna be one way in and one way out. They are gonna do that.
Well, that's okay.
Yep.
I mean, because my thought is, okay, so you have that there. I know a couple times you had all the way down the other end of the water.
So I have a 100-person dinner down there.
Yeah, that's what I was
And we're
trying to
doing
think.
that again.
Now, I heard something advertised on the radio about some place that is having food, champagne, and it was like for $70 or $80, and it didn't sound like it was down there. It
No,
sounded like
I am not
somewhere
having
else.
champagne down there. It wasn't
No,
my
it-
event.
It was something
I
like that.
wonder where that is.
I don't know. I only heard it once on the radio, so I don't know. So with the dock, and then, what do you hear about the Coast Guard Museum?
So the Coast Guard Museum was supposed to start construction the Monday after Sailfest. And
Is
now,
that enough time for you to get everything out of there and bring it back to normal?
yeah, I'm usually cleaned up and out of town by Tuesday. So yes, it is. But I think I was in a Port Authority meeting last Thursday, and I don't think they're going to start on that day. I think because of some permitting, it's got pushed back, but I don't have a date of when it's going to.
You think it's going to happen?
They've got money.
Yeah, I wonder where they got the money all this. Oh, I know where they got it from.
Biden had it in
Yeah.
their budget.
I mean, he's got so much money. What the hell, just make more. So how, when that goes down, I mean, how much of the pier,
We'll lose all that. We'll
everything
lose
behind
that.
the train station?
We'll lose
even
all
the,
that.
Even the long pier where you,
Yeah,
where
we'll,
you're gonna have the trucks this year?
yeah, we'll probably lose
So
all that.
what's that gonna do to us?
I don't
We
know.
got a call. Hang on.
Great.
Oh, I just hung up on him. Call back, caller. I'm sorry. I'm new at this.
You better not hang up.
Oh, no, okay, I'm good.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
So what's up, Cheryl?
I have a question to ask Barbara about
Okay.
the finances. I know you touched on that very lightly, and my little pea brain just really didn't comprehend everything. So my question is, how much money does the city have in their budget for you to give to you to put this on?
The city doesn't give me any money to put it on. If I don't raise
Well,
in.
it's very hard to hear you. Hello?
Yep.
Hang on.
Hold on, I'll move this up. The city doesn't give me any money to put this on. This is done by the Downtown New London Association.
Tell her what the money from the city is for.
The city pays for the police, the fire, and the public works. And then we give the city $30,000 towards that.
So it doesn't cost the city anything except for the police, fire, their overtime, and all that stuff?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned it usually costs $500,000, but this year is going to be less. So,
What I said is that's like the budget. When you're talking about fireworks and everything that goes on, that's approximately what we have to raise to run that event. Yep.
okay. And how do you raise that money?
Through sponsorships and vendor fees.
Oh, okay. And then you end up with a profit for next year?
So the Downtown New London Association typically does not end up with a profit. It usually is a break-even event.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I was just curious. how
We
that
actually donate money back into the community. Our road race that we run, we bought New London High in 2019. We bought track shoes, but we also donate to other like we've given money to the Little League. We've given money to the Soup Kitchen. We donate money back into the community.
Okay, so that comes out of the profit that you make from, the vendors paying for their spots and everything.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
I know where she's coming from because there was always a big thing about wanting to do away with, I forget her name, she was on the council, she was talking about doing away with
Yep.
Sailfest.
Erica Richardson. I can remember
Yes,
that name.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it at the time.
Yep.
And so everybody got in an uproar and thought that, you guys were making big bucks, the city was giving you all kinds of money and stuff like this. But this is one of the reasons I asked you on the show.
Yeah, I have no problem answering
people
the
don't-
questions. They have no I mean, I don't know. I mean, those fireworks aren't free. I mean, and so yes, Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation is a sponsor, but there's other costs that come into that. They're a sponsor of the event, and there is other costs that come into it.
So who actually pays for the fireworks? Is it Foxwoods or?
Foxwoods is a sponsor of the fireworks.
Which
Yep.
means what exactly? They're paying for it.
They are paying for a good portion of the fireworks, but not all the production of the fireworks. We still
The
have
production is the barges and
Yeah.
the company that's who's putting them on this year?
Garden State Fireworks.
Now you used to have, what was the name?
Grucci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to them guys?
We bid things out.
okay.
And so we bid our porta potties out every year, try to get the best price. Our tents every year, we bid everything out to try to get the best prices. So we decided that we were going to bid out fireworks and see what happened. There was an incident that something happened, and there was some questions, and so we decided to bid it out, and that's what we did.
I have nothing against bidding things out. I mean, I think the city should do a hell of a lot more of that myself. So some people talk about, instead of having it 3 days, what if you had it on one day, like from Saturday morning till the end of that?
So think about, so that's, once again, they do say that. So Friday, we don't close any streets. We're not closing any streets. Everything's on the waterfront. So there's not a lot of overtime or anything on Friday. So if we didn't have it on Friday, you're not saving a lot of money on Friday.
Okay.
And same thing with Sunday. Sunday's a half a day. There's not a lot on Sunday. So you could, I mean, I can tell you that you're not setting up we're not setting up vendors for one day. It takes us a lot to set up these vendors, and vendors aren't coming in to set up the streets for one day and go away. Other people have said, why don't you charge the vendors more money? There's only a market that you can get so much for.
Yeah.
And I like to compare this event to the Big E. We get about, on the same days, we get about the same number that you can get for square footage of what we are. So we like to, I mean, you can only get so much money for a vendor. And so I try to scale what the Big E's doing, what their numbers are, because they're a 21-day event, to our event. The Big E, to participate in their event, you actually have to set up beforehand and cook your thing, and you have to go in front of their board or do your demonstration in front of the board, and that's how you get in or out. If you can get into the Big E, I'm taking you in Sailfest, because that's like the best of the best in this area.
Yeah.
And people will come from Florida and go up the event, month through month, go up the East Coast, end of the Big E, and then go home. And so if we can get them coming up in July to stop here, then it's a
okay.
win-win. And so if you want to participate in Sailfest, you have to send us, we just don't take everybody, you have to give us what you want to sell, because we only typically do one item per street. You have to give us a list of other events you've participated in and a picture of your booth. And then sometimes by looking at the picture, we can tell that you don't do big events, that you do craft shows or something like that. And we don't want to just take somebody's money to have them fail. We want vendors that come in that every year people are looking for. So everyone's looking for the chicken on the stick vendor. He's in the same place every year. Terrace Fried Dough, same place every year. The Jungle Juice, same place every year. And you know where they are. And so they come back every single year. Some of these vendors have been doing this event. I've been doing the event for 23 years. They've been coming longer than I've been doing it.
Well, who was doing it before you? Or was there?
So there was. And so the MCDC, the Marine Commerce Division, was a department in the city of New London that ran this event. And then in budget cuts, they cut out that. And so the Downtown New London said it was so important for the businesses that the Downtown New London Association took the event over. And it's been run by the Downtown New London Association.
So when did the first one actually happen?
So the first one happened in 76, 1976. Really? Yep, because I took it on in 96. It was the 20th year. Yep.
Wow, I didn't realize it's been around that long. All right. Boy, this is the first time I actually got through questions this fast. So some people have said that during the times when there isn't anything going on there along the waterfront? Because you always hear people say, well, we need to do more with the waterfront. You know, it's not making us any money. It's a waste of money, yada, yada, yada. Some people talk about a flea market, you know, like Mansfield Flea Market and stuff, and having something like that on a Sunday.
I tried that.
Oh, you did?
I did. I
did.
tried that one year, and it did not go over well. We didn't get people out there. You got to remember, it's hot out there in the summer.
True.
And that's why most of my events, if you look at any of my events in the summer, they're from 6 to 9. The reason is because it's hot out there. The sun goes on the concrete and reflects up, and there's no shade. So nobody wants to come down and stand around in the hot. So, and then if you remember, there was a group that it was a girl, and I think it was a relative of hers, and they ran a market every Sunday down on the waterfront, and they would have different themes, and it didn't work.
Did you used to have some, when I was working, and I always work nights, and I remember on I think it was a Thursday night in the summer, you had bands down right behind the...
Rich Martin and I would do Downtown Live. And Downtown Live, we'd bring in a beer truck and we'd bring in some food trucks and do live music down on the waterfront.
Is that happening this year?
It's not. He's doing it in the Hygienic Art Park this year because of the construction that was supposed to start. He didn't want to start the series on the waterfront and not be able to go the whole summer. So he's doing it in the Hygienic Art Park this year.
Have you heard anything about the Buckley House?
I have.
What's going on with that? I know that has nothing to do with Sailfest, but I'm curious.
So it was in litigation, and we all thought that it was finished, and I don't think it is because she was looking to sell it.
Now, I always thought it closed.
I don't think it's sold.
I always thought it was closed down because it became a conflict with the Hygienic, with the music outside.
Nope. So the owner got arrested for tax evasion.
Because I used to think that was pretty cool with the way they had it set up outside with the bands and all that.
Yeah.
I used to think to myself, this has got to be a moneymaker.
Yeah, oh, it was. It was. He did very well during Sailfest.
Oh, I bet. I bet he did. And I always thought maybe the Hygienic got a little bit upset about it.
There was some conflicts with the Hygienic and that because they both did live music at the same time and they both did alcohol.
I don't know how the hell they could do that.
Right. So what they used to have to do is they used to have to work with planning and zoning and pick a schedule, and they would share the summer. And that's sort of hard. I mean, I don't know who was in charge of saying, yes, you guys could both do bands in the same area, but it was, so I think the Buckley House owned both pieces. They owned both pieces, and then they sold half of it to the Hygienic, or vice versa. What
do you think about the? I don't want to get you in trouble.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
like I haven't been in trouble before.
This is true.
Yeah.
I remember when there was a big to-do about people were lived downtown were getting upset, and they said the music goes past 11 o'clock. Too many people out there. Yada yada. Well, the thing with me is, when you move into a place and you know that's there already, it doesn't give you any room to complain.
Yeah, you're right.
And
I live downtown.
You know, that was downtown.
Yeah, yeah. So we can't go past 11 o'clock outside. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Well, no, but I mean, these people were complaining about probably even before that, before 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they were.
They
were.
So.
But that's what the ordinance is now, that 11 o'clock music outside.
That's like moving in next to an airport, and all of a sudden wanting them to stop flying planes.
Or the train station that we got.
Well, some people like that. I wouldn't bother me if I lived downtown with the trains and their horns and stuff. Get used to it.
They're pretty loud.
I know, but you get used to it.
I wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes when I hear those trains go by.
So we're not going to have any streets closed this year?
Yeah, Bank Street's going to be closed.
Oh, it is
State Street's going to be closed, yeah.
All right,
Yep.
so, but vendors are only going to be on one side. Doesn't it
Correct.
cut half the amount of money?
Yep.
Do you have any reason why they decided to do that? Because they didn't want to hide the buildings?
This was the mayor's decision, and the mayor originally wanted us to not close Bank Street. He wanted Bank Street open, and the merchants really wanted Bank Street closed.
Well, that'd be just asking for trouble.
And so the merchants really wanted it closed.
I mean, Christ, you got people walking all over the streets.
No, we wouldn't have used it. we wouldn't have had vendors there. So so we went back and forth. There was many meetings with city staff and merchants going back and forth to see what we could agree on to do.
Okay, let's see what else I got on my little book here. I got special deal spots. I don't know what that's all about. Why did I put that there? I don't know. So how big is your volunteer group during the actual Sailfest? Because I heard something that you have a lot of people that were volunteering.
We do. We have probably about 50 to 60 people.
And are they mostly from New London?
No, most of them are not from New London.
Really?
That is the funniest thing.
Are
Most
you
of them
kidding
are.
me?
No, I'm not. Most of them are not from New London. Nope. They love the event and they come down. I get people that come down with their kids. I have people that were originally on the Sailfest committee that went off, had kids, got married, and came back. I have one kid that's been on the committee for 19 years. He started off as doing volunteer service and comes back and has a full-time job and is married and comes back every year for that weekend. I have a woman that used to work for me that when I had my store that takes time off her job, vacation days, to come back to work for Sailfest.
Well, so far that's the thing that's blown my mind most so far is the fact that nobody from New London's volunteering.
I'm not saying nobody
but
from New London.
not
but
what I thought there would be.
But it's no. If I go around the room and think, I know there's a couple from New London. I mean, Ethan's from New London, Andre's from New London, Kia's from New London, a lot of them from Waterford, Montville.
I remember what the special deal spot was. I was wondering if there was any and we had already kind of talked about it, where you'll have your tent at the other end for the meals and the drinks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I remember right, and I could have this wrong, the first time I saw that, I think there was a certain fee to get in there, and then everything was included. Is that how that worked?
Yep. So it's $75,
That's what
and
it
you
was.
get a dinner with it. Actually, everything's not included. We're doing something new this year. We're doing an oyster bar, and so you can buy oysters down there, and you have to buy your beverages. Beverages aren't included. So
You think that's, well, I was wondering how that's going to affect the dot or vice versa. You think that's...
I don't think, it's a whole different atmosphere down there.
Oh, yeah.
And so you get a different clientele that come down there. When I walk down, people come down there and they don't want the pushing, the shoving. They want to sit on the waterfront and do their New York Times puzzles. And this is what you see when you go down there. Or you see them reading a book and they're having their meal and they're waiting for the fireworks. It's a whole different thing. There's no pushing, there's no shoving. Some people bring their families, some bring their kids. There's not a kid's price because you're not only paying for the meal, you're paying for the seat, which is right in front of the fireworks. You're paying for the experience. And there's air-conditioned bathrooms down there, high-end bathrooms, so you're not in a porta potty or anything like that. And it's a different experience. And there's people that go to that. We just sent out an email to all the people that go. They go every year. They'll call the office. Do you have those tickets ready? Because they want to come to the event, but they don't want the crowd part of the event, but they want to come and experience it.
Do you get a lot of the people, I know during Sailfest is when probably the only time of year where you have such a huge boat crowd.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of those people probably go to that tent, I would imagine.
Oh, no. Nope, they don't. Those people are on their boats. And actually, I take care of the moorings for that. And I have the same names every single year that come back, and they bring their boat in. Yeah, we run a shuttle. The Port Authority runs a shuttle, so they go pick up, you pay for it to come in and out. We run that for 3 days.
Other than Sailfest, how are those moorings doing as far as bringing boats in? I went down there when I saw that the dock first opened. I'm thinking, well, you're going to have a lot of boats coming in now. But it doesn't seem like it.
It seems like that dock is actually, the restaurant's called City Dock. It's actually, people are docking at the dock. So they dock around the outside of it. They don't pay. They dock there, and then they go into the restaurant, and then they get on their boat and leave. So they're not really using the moorings. They're using the dock to dock at their boats.
Do they have to pay for that?
No, nope. They just come in and they just dock, and then they go to the restaurant, and then they can leave. Yep.
What does it cost to tie your boat off to mooring?
It's very cheap. So it's $5 for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's $35 for Friday, Saturday, Sundays.
$35 for 3 days? Oh, a day?
A day, yep. And then
that
for
is cheap.
Sailfest, we charge $200 for 3 days. So instead of paying...
Yeah, but how long have those moorings been there? I don't think they've been there that long, have they?
What do you mean?
The actual places where the boats are tying up out in the
Oh,
water.
yeah.
How long have they been there?
Oh, gosh. They've been there for a while.
Have they been there before Passero became mayor?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Yes, they have.
All right. I got that one pay. All right, we're done. We can go home now.
I think we got 4 minutes, don't we?
Oh, wow. Okay, it went faster than I thought. So, how long do you see yourself doing this?
A few more years.
Yeah?
A few more
Then
years,
what?
maybe. Well, let's get through this year first.
Yeah.
I'd love to work for the Coast Guard Museum. I'm doing a few different things to get some other tools in my toolbox so that maybe I could work at the museum. I'd love to work at the museum and do something a little different.
What do you think about people who say it shouldn't be there? You think it would be better at the fort?
Yes. I think it could grow. I think New London's small, 6 square miles. If I go to
Yeah.
New York City, I walk more than 6 miles when I go to see things, and I think people could do the same. And we have the water taxi, would promote the water taxi, but it wasn't my decision, and I think the decision's already made, and now we just have to go with what's there. So
You think it's going to be a plus for downtown New London?
oh, definitely. I definitely will bring people in, and it'll definitely be a plus for downtown.
You know, I talk.
Anywhere in New London, it would have been a plus for downtown, is what
Yes.
you know.
No, because sometimes at consuls and before the COVID thing, I used to say, well, do you people on consul actually really know what's going to be involved when they build this museum before it's done? Because as far as I can imagine, downtown in that section is going to be totally torn up.
Oh yeah.
They're going to have to reconfigure roads. They're going to have to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people. What do you think about the bridge?
The walkover bridge.
Yeah.
Well, they've been wanting that.
Oh, I know.
Crosstown Ferry's been wanting it for a long time. So.
And from what I hear, they're going to get a nice
Terminal.
out of it.
Yep. So.
But I don't think it's going to work. Like I said, I used to park down there forever.
Just the construction alone is going to give a boost to New London. When you have all those people, and I've seen that before with the Parade Plaza and with the waterfront, just the construction alone will give a boost to the businesses downtown.
Well, yes, it will. You're right.
Yep.
But when it's done,
Well, you're going to have employees working there. You're going to have events in there. You're going to have weddings in there.
well, our buddy Finizio agreed to have us take care of the security and the maintenance of that bridge. We can't even take care of the stuff in our own city. So who's going to do that? You know, I say the Coast Guard should supply security, and Crosstown Ferry should supply the maintenance. They're the ones that are going to make the money. We ain't. But that's another story for another show. Barbara, I guess we're almost done. Anything else you want to plug while you're here before we go out?
Well, there's a lot of events happening in downtown other than Sailfest. My next event after that is Christmas in July, where I'm doing a lighted boat parade.
That's new, right?
Yep, that's going to be new. And that is going to be, we're working with the Thames Yacht Club. We already have 18 boats already signed up. And so that'll be a nice event on the waterfront. And then in August, I'm doing a pirate event, which I sort of did Eat in the Street. I did a pirate event last year, but this one I am bringing in a pirate ship out of Delaware. And so we want people to come down for that event. So you'll be able to go on that boat. And so that's one of the things people don't understand is that, they're like, oh, why aren't there more boats at Sailfest? This boat that's coming in is would have cost us $45,000 to get it in for an event. We worked out a deal where they're not paying that, but we're not paying that, but you know, what people don't understand. The Amistad was here last weekend. It's coming in for Sailfest. The Amistad gets $10,000 to come in.
And that comes out of your budget.
That comes out of my budget. Yep.
Wow. So these Eat in the Streets, we're getting ready, so I'm going to be real quick. The theme this past time has been basically a Latin theme, Black American theme. I guess what I'm getting at is why have themes? Why not just make it for everybody?
So, well, it is for everybody.
Some people get kind of wigged out about that.
So this is what it was. The first one was Cinco de Mayo because it was on Cinco de Mayo. So it had a Cinco de Mayo theme. The June one had a chocolate theme. I had chocolates made, and if you went into a restaurant that was participating and spent $25,
I read that.
you got the chocolate, and then you got a gift certificate.
Right.
The next one is August, which is local theme. So it's like
Okay.
the bagpipers are playing. It's local, you know.
We're
local.
going.
And then September is Spanish Heritage Month, and that's why it's Spanish Heritage. So
All right, well, we got to do one for 4th of July, you know.
I can't.
American.
I'm doing Sailfest.
Oh. Well, all right, thank you. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you.
watching, and
Thanks.
see you next week.